NASCAR returns to the Heartland, and we get you set for a weekend full of racing at Kansas Speedway with our best bets and our DFS tiers. All this and more. It's the Backroad coming right at you.
It's a non-points race, but it is a short race. Checkered flag. That's all this race is.
From the States.
What's good, everybody? Welcome into the Backroad. It's In Between Media's NASCAR betting fantasy NASCAR show. My name's Elliot Hicks. With me, as always, is Seth Woolcock, or not as always, but anytime that it's the two of us, it's the two of us. Seth, going to be a fun one tonight. We are heading to Kansas, which has arguably been one of NASCAR's best tracks in the recent years.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that, I feel like 10 years ago, we'd go from Bristol, the night race, to Kansas, and we'd be like, man, it doesn't live up to the same bill. Hey, it's full blazing here. I'm ready to go here, Elliot. And I kind of just realized today, we only have 7 races left in the season to make the most of it from a betting perspective, from a DFS and fantasy perspective as well. So I'm excited to break it all down with you here. And who doesn't love a little Kansas, the Great Plains, man?
Yeah, it's been so good as of late, especially in the spring. We will break down that Bristol race, though, that, damn near put most of us to sleep. We will break down Kansas, give you our best bets for the week, and then round it out with our DFS rankings. And yeah, it's going to be a fun one tonight. We are down to the round of 12 now. We've chopped off 4 drivers from the Cup Series elimination pool, and we've got a triple header this weekend. The Xfinity and the Truck Series are going to be added too.
Yeah, I'm excited to see all 3 series in action. Excited to break it down with you and the IBT family. We got Charles in the chat. What's up, Charles? Good to see you, man. We got Kush. He's locked and loaded as well, keeping us up to date with what's going on in the Thursday night football game. We appreciate you, buddy. Hope you're having a great Thursday evening here with us. And Elliot, what do you say, man? We are pretty loaded. I am going to see you this weekend. I know we're going to put back a lot of beers. We're going to have a lot of bullshitting. So I think we can skip some of the welcomes and the pleasings and jump right into the racing tonight, man.
Yeah, the only thing I want to say is shout out to the fam. I know we got rolling a little late tonight, but appreciate you guys sticking around, and it's going to be a good one tonight. So without further ado, let's look back at Bristol in the rear view. So Bristol was also a triple header weekend. All 3 series raced. In the Truck Series, Lane Riggs goes back-to-back. Shame he couldn't pick up those wins before the playoffs started, but he's able to rip out 2 in a row and starting to show some of that potential we'd seen from him before. In Xfinity, Cole Custer gets the win, reemerges as the title favorite, and Dale Jr. had a hell of a run. Unfortunately, didn't end up in victory lane. And in the Cup Series, Kyle Larson put down an absolute ass whooping. I think he led 462 of the 500 laps, dominates what was a pretty lackluster Bristol race in the Cup Series, a race that, without the playoff cut line story, might have been among the most boring races in the recent history of the Cup Series. I mean, there was impossible to pass. The next-gen problems on the short track were really exacerbated with this race.
Yeah, it was wild, too, because when they went and tested there in the summer, we heard similar fall-off to what we saw in the spring. I don't know if it's the temperature difference, what really it was, but I think we got to go back to the drawing board now because there was a lot of anticipation, a lot of hype around that race, and it just didn't live up to the bill, Elliot, which, hey, that happens. This is an perfection sport that we're dealing with. We're talking about cars on a track and especially in the next gen era, but we got to do better. But hey, we're on that Kyle Larson ticket. So, still a good race to me. I voted yes in Jeff Gluck's poll. You better believe it, man. But yeah, kind of a shitty race. Not a lot of surprises, I would say, either. Kind of in the Cup Series, Ryan Preece snuck out of top 10. Outside of that, it was kind of your usual suspects at the top of the order.
Yeah, pretty chalk. I mean, it was no surprise when Larson was starting up front that he would end up taking the win there. As much as I'm a Bowman fan, you kind of figure he's not going to hold the lead there. And in fact, he held it for about 30 laps at the beginning. Probably just shows how difficult it really was to pass in general. And you're right, mostly chalk up there up front.
Yeah, and shout out Dale Jr. That was an awesome run in the Xfinity Series race. Kind of a bump. Like the way my weekend worked out, I'm still minus a little bit of money, about a minus half a unit, even though I hit the Larson outright, had a very positive cup race. That Xfinity race was a pile of fuckery and a half, my friend, because I know you were out in the jungle listening to some dubstep music with those types of folks out there, and probably watching this on your phone. But at the same time, Justin Allgaier had the fastest car on her card. If I could handicap just who has the fastest car each week, man, would I be a millionaire, Elliot? Because I swear to God, whether it's Xfinity truck or Cup, every week we have them, and sometimes it just doesn't come to pass. And Allgaier got banged up early, lost the back of his car, ended up becoming faster with the aerodynamics and how that worked out, ended up getting taken out. So kind of a bummer to see that, kind of a bummer to see Dale really have to throw away that whole first stage as well with the radio issues, him and TJ yelling back and forth. But we saw the Dirty Mo Company and JRM booze until about 1 a.m. In Bristol. So you can't blame him for not trying.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about these races is you go out, you have a good time. I had kind of accepted, obviously a Dale Jr. fan, I'd kind of accepted once we hit like 2021, 2022, that it's not about Dale Jr. winning races. It's about him going out there, having a good time, running all the laps, having the beers with everybody, poking around with like Josh Williams and guys in the back. Yeah. Then he damn near wins Bristol last fall, and it got us all excited again. But still, regardless, hopefully to get those radio issues fixed for Connor
P7. Yeah, P7, man. Like
very respectable night for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he still has it in us. And I think the big takeaway, I think Junior Nation as a whole can feel after this Bristol run is, hey, he didn't close the book right yet. He wants to focus on broadcasting in 2025 with Amazon, Turner, that whole gang. So you can appreciate that from Junior. But hey, 2026, we're going to be hitting that outright one more time, Elliot.
Always got to put at least a little sprinkle on it. You wouldn't feel alive if you couldn't make a little money from it if it ever happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And dude, what about Lane Riggs? Like we've kind of been shitting on Lane Riggs for a lot of this truck season, and kind of comes out of nowhere and wins back-to-back races here. And it's like you said, like just a little too late. Because man, could you imagine if Lane Riggs was still in this, and we had a guy who actually maybe compete with Heckes and I'm down the stretch?
Yeah, I mean, and he could be a championship favorite next year in the truck series. I kind of thought he was my sort of sleeper pick this year because of the few races that he'd done, some Xfinity with Colleague and things like that. He'd run pretty well. He's got the potential. It just took him quite a bit of time to really settle in his first full-time truck season this year. Sometimes it takes that. You have some guys that fire off immediately, or you have your Lane Riggs or your Jake Garcias and guys like that who have potential, but just need a little bit of time to get warmed up. And I think Lane Riggs, he's got warmed up. He may not have to deal with Heim or Heckes in trucks next year. Yeah. And that could really make him someone to watch if he continues this hot streak at the end of the season.
Absolutely. Regardless, it was, it was disappointing. I'm not going to throw the book at NASCAR like I know a lot of the fans, a lot of the media are after kind of a lackluster race. Let's figure it out, smart people. There are people way smarter than you and I sitting here on YouTube that can I think can figure this out, man. But regardless, I appreciate it. I appreciate the IBT family. Hopefully you guys rode with Rod and I because we were both very high on Larson. Those were our two outrights. Fuck Kyle Busch. Tried to get down with him and he was running back, got lapped in stage one. So we'll not be doing that again. But regardless, awesome weekend. Hope everyone tailed and had a good time. It was an awesome race, Elliot.
Yeah, it was an awesome race for you that won money, but they really got to get that next gen figured out. Yeah. Every kind of car, it seems like the NASCAR does. There's one sort of track that's sort of a weakness. Unfortunately, with the next gen, it's short tracks, but they're not going to lose short track racing. They will get it figured out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we have some news to go over since the last time we met as well.
That's correct. Yeah. So we got a rare driver trade in the Cup Series that's starting this week at Kansas. Justin Haley is going to return to Spire Motorsports. Of course, ran a few races, won the 2019 Summer Daytona race on some kind of fuckery rain strategy. I still feel bad for Kurt Busch on that one, but able to get it done. He's going back to Spire, and he's going to drive that 7 car the rest of this year and in 2025, confirmed, running with Rodney Childers in that 7. Corey Lajoie is going to go run the 51 at least the rest of this year. I imagine he gets that seat again next year, but it's not confirmed yet. But they will make this trade for the last 7 races of the year, something that you almost never see. It's been, I think, damn near 20 years since we've seen something like this in the Cup Series.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't remember it from my perspective. You and I were probably 4 or 5 when this happened. So cool to kind of see a trade like this go down. Crazy to see it kind of happen mid-season here as well. And, there was a point in the season looking back where Justin Haley was running inside the top 10 every single week, it seemed like, but was never really able to make up the difference from the equipment or the team. Something was always kind of plaguing this number 51 team. Just 2 top 10s on the season for him, which I think most people would be surprised to hear that. But it does not just or indicate how well he has been running so far this season. 6 top 10s last year. He had a win in 2019, as you said, very fluky one at that. But also looking back to when he was in an Xfinity series as well with colleague full time, he had 4 wins. He took that car at one point into a deep playoff run. So I think Justin Haley here with Rodney Childers is a match made in heaven. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to gamble on it. I'm excited to see what happens here in 2024. And I think on the other side of this as well, Elliot, Corey Lajoie, just 3 top 10s this season. He has had 2 non-drafting top 10s since this announcement, maybe got him into gear a little bit, but I think he's probably back, where he's most comfortable, a slower team, a low pressure team, not an ascending team like Spire was.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Spire is they're ascending to the point where now the rumors are out there that they may get more Chevy support than teams like Trackhouse. They may become sort of a mini Hendrick affiliate, almost like Stuart Haas was when they first showed up and ran Chevrolets back in the day. And for Justin Haley, obviously he's a high potential guy. Running in those Rick Ware cars, they've improved, but clearly they're not on the same level as Spire still, which is a credit to Spire. If you guys remember, if anyone was still watching when the show first started, I was the guy to shit on Spire and say they're only in this for money. They're not in it for improving at all. And I've mentioned this before on the show, but I've done a complete 180 on them. Obviously, they're here to win. Obviously, they're here to do good things, and Justin Haley's only going to improve them. For Lajoie, I mean, the Ware cars are getting better. They're not quite as bad. If he does go full-time in that car again next year, he'll have a couple of surprise runs, almost as if we did a couple years ago with Spire, when they were almost on the same level. Yeah. But for Lajoie, you almost think if he wants to have some sort of career advancement or get into a good ride, maybe he's best taking the funding that he has. He kept Schuler Systems and Celsius and Team something or other. I can't remember the name, but he kept some funding. Maybe he would be better off dropping down to Xfinity or Truck for a year, pulling a JHN or pulling somebody else, get in a better ride, get yourself some potential, get yourself some wins. I mean, being in the Cup Series is good. I guess it's good enough for him to roll around in a Ware car.
I just think he is probably talented enough where I think he could go out in the Truck Series and win a couple races a season. I think he could at least contend in the Xfinity Series, potentially make the playoffs. And he's that type of guy, man. He's going to continue to cut his teeth out here. I respect Corey Lajoie and appreciate what he's done for us as a program. There were times back in the day when we were very new to gambling and it was, hey, Corey Lajoie top 10 long shot. Let's send it, baby. And so I appreciate him coming through for us many times like that, and excited to see kind of what is next for him. Over under for Justin Haley, 1 win next season, 0.5 wins. What would you put the odds on that you make you take the over there?
I'm going to say under, and that was my other point I was going to make, is I don't quite think that they're to the point where they're a winning race team. And there's always a chance with a guy like Rodney Childers, and if they do get more Chevrolet and Hendrick support, that they can hit a setup or they can hit some strategy and go win. I just think it's still a year too soon for them. I mean, if Rodney Childers could really – it was Stuart Haas Racing. They're a team that's on the downspin. Josh Berry's obviously a good driver. I feel like if Rodney Childers could single-handedly win a race, he would have done so this year with Josh Berry. And there's still 7 races left. Maybe he can. But I think they could be in the conversation. Carson Hocevar midseason was around the 20th in points. Close enough to where you think about pointing your way in. I don't think he wins. I think he ends up just short of the playoffs. But they'll know Justin Haley was there next year.
I think from a gambling perspective, Spire is the perfect team to continue to take occasional shots on, whether that's in matchups, whether that's in the top 10 market. We saw it a couple weeks ago at Watkins Glen. Zane Smith, top 5. Carson Hocevar, top 3 run for him. So there is some momentum building here, and we're starting to learn with these younger drivers too, what tracks are they good at? And I think we're going to continue to learn with Hocevar what tracks he's good at in the Cup Series. Haley, we know this is a guy who has 4 drafting track wins in the Xfinity Series. He has 1 in the Cup Series as well. He's ran good at Daytona in the past. So, we'll take our shots. I'm sure Daytona 500, I would be surprised if one of you and I did not have Justin Haley on our card in some form or fashion.
Yeah, and we know that these guys are going to be motivated. I mean, McDowell coming in that building is going to be good for them. But with all the rumors that have been going around, both Haley and Hocevar are going to go into next year thinking, if I run well this year, I'm going to get to drive for Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah.
Because,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Bowman doing anything short of winning a title or making the championship 4, he's probably out of that ride after next year, because Haley's got the potential, Hocevar's got the potential. Bowman's a guy who hasn't shown that championship potential, and a team like Hendrick Motorsports, they want that potential. They're buying into Spire, they're investing into Spire, whether on paper or not. They're getting the Chevrolet support. Those guys are going to want to run well. So you're right. They're going to be a team to take shots on, and they're going to surprise us, I guess, at some points, even though we kind of know that it's coming. We know the talent's there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was what, maybe 13, 14 months ago that we saw Justin Haley almost pull out a win out of his ass at the Chicago Street Course. So yeah, you never know with this sport and these upcoming teams. So excited to be here front and center to watch it all. And one more news item here, Elliot, as well, over in the Truck Series, if you want to touch on that as well.
Yeah, so there was a driver change with the Rackley Ware truck. Ty Dillon is out and Dawson Sutton is in over there. I mean, we can't really say much more about Ty Dillon. His potential's out there. He hasn't won in the Truck Series this year. They haven't been the best runs. Dawson Sutton, a guy that hasn't, had a lot of top 3 series experience, but he's a guy that has the family connections there. His parents are involved with that team, but also a guy that does have some potential. He's a short track guy. He's a guy that really could help this team grow, even though there's not much we know about him, like we said. This move kind of makes sense, especially if Ty Dillon might continue to fail upwards with the funding and get back in the Cup Series next year.
This kind of reminds me of like an MLB type move. It's getting towards the end of the season. You're not running for anything. You cut Rowdy Tellez a couple, a day before you.
Was Ty Dillon owed a $200,000 bonus for?
Yeah, but this is bringing in kind of like I think everyone knew Ty Dillon was kind of keeping this seat warm for the boss's kid. Curtis Sutton is the father of Dawson Sutton. He is also the co-owner of Rackley Ware Racing as well. So this is one of those situations. I think Dawson Sutton has a little bit of upside here. I think if we were to do a prospect draft again, like we did a couple weeks ago, he might not make the top 20, but maybe be in that top 36 mix or so. Tennessee kid, ran a shit ton at the fairgrounds. Like, this was the guy who at the Nashville fairgrounds, he was kind of infamous for how well he would run there. Late model background, as you said as well. So I think next year, I think even towards the end of this year, if you want to take a shot on him at a short track, we're going to go to Martinsville in a couple weeks. You never know what happens at Phoenix the last weekend as well. So Dawson Sutton, a name to keep in mind here, I think, from a gambling perspective, maybe just a little bit of a long shot here. But I mean, we know, like, honestly, like, fuck Ty Dillon. No offense to him. Like, he's never done anything to me. Seems like a really fun guy, cool dude to hang out with. Just 2 top 10s this season in this Rackley Ware truck. Just not good enough for me, in my opinion. This was a truck, Elliot, that when Matty D ran almost 2 full seasons in it, 19 top 10s, a win, a playoff run. That is what we are expecting here. I thought maybe, honestly, Lajoie would maybe be up for this ride if it wasn't Sutton. So excited to see what Sutton can do. And let's remember, let's keep this in the back of our mind here as we continue to lay out bets for the Truck Series the rest of the way here.
Yeah, I mean, this year it'll be good to have him kind of get adjusted in there, maybe throw out some top 5 bets, or if he's in some matchups and things like that. But he's one of those guys next year. There's always some good young Truck Series guys and guys in the lower series you have to watch. I'm all for giving younger guys a shot and kind of pushing out some of these older guys that really, just Ty Dillon really still need to be running in the top 3 series. Why can this guy not just be the general manager of RCR or something right now? He hasn't run terrible in the Cup Series. He's had a couple like top 20s, but I just don't get it. But I don't need to go on the Ty Dillon soapbox again. We've been there before.
Yeah, absolutely. He's taken some shrapnel on this program over the years. God bless you, Ty Dillon. We're thinking about you. We hope that, we hope the best for you. Just don't come back to the Cup Series. We don't need it. He's probably going to be.
Colin, please put somebody else in that car, please.
No, it's all a money thing. You know how it goes here. But all right, man. What do you say? Should we jump in a little Bristol here? Or excuse me, sorry. God, don't want to go back to Bristol. Yeah.
Well, that was the problem, is Bristol wasn't so exciting. We're still waiting for the excitement from Bristol, but I'm sure the excitement that we missed out on at Bristol, we will get at Kansas. So let's start to look ahead to this race weekend in the Horizon forecast.
Hey, Michael, it was only 20% chance of rain. I think we got all 20.
So Kansas Speedway is one of those mile-and-a-half cookie cutter tracks that we used to use cookie cutter almost as a derogatory term because they all ran the same and none of them ran that well. But you can make an argument that Kansas is the most fun track in the Cup Series right now.
Yeah, we used to call it Mickey Mouse cookie cutter. You throw your derogative insult in there, we would do it. And yeah, I mean, I just love how these next gen cars operate on this mile and a half, especially with the high tire wear that we've seen recently. I feel like as this track has worn in over the years, in the next gen era, that we have seen even better racing here. It is considered the sister track of Las Vegas. Also a mini Michigan, but a little bit higher tire wear. We don't get a ton of higher tire wear up there by the lake. So here, looking at some of these tracks that I'm comparing it to, Elliot, Las Vegas, Michigan, Charlotte, Homestead, Texas. Those are kind of the big ones. Is that kind of what you have on your sheet as well here?
Yeah, I just was scrolling up in the good old iFantasy race heat chart. Vegas, Texas, Kansas, Charlotte are these high-speed, intermediate, high-wear tracks. We know how smart he is. He's probably smarter than me, but I do love these other comps that you have too. High tire wear. Normally Bristol's high tire wear, like you said, in Darlington. But I do like, keep the cookie cutters in their box and take the stats from there.
Yeah, like the funny part about it is I played Kyle Larson last week because of the high tire wear at Michigan or Kansas that we saw earlier in the season, and I was expecting a similar result at Bristol. We didn't, but yeah, you can peek around at Bristol, you can peek around at Darlington. I think those are also some decent comp tracks for this, but yeah, we're gonna be looking at these high speed intermediates and then Kansas as well, which is just just kind of a bigger version of this track as well. Looking at the schedule for the weekend, Elliot, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to get the truck race, the Kubota Tractor 200 on Friday night. So make sure you guys are getting invested. No truck odds really. So we're not going to talk trucks too much. We have a couple things we're going to throw out there. I know we're just kind of seeing some books release odds as we're going live here, but keep your head on a swivel tomorrow for that. Saturday, then 11 a.m. Eastern time, cup practice and qualifying, just your normal sessions there. And then 4 p.m. Eastern time, the Xfinity Series race, the Reese's 150. I know you're a big fan of Reese's and the schemes they run with all guys, so you're probably excited about that one.
Yeah, nice little orange car always looks good. And who doesn't love a good old Reese's peanut butter cup? Halloween's right around the corner.
Yeah, we were just on the IBT podcast the other night, and our boy Kyle, your roommate, our longtime producer on this show, said he doesn't like Reese's peanut butter cups, really, is what he said. So it was some heated discussion.
He's more of a Kit Kat guy. Every once in a while, I'll pop in our freezer downstairs, and there's just a box of Kit Kats sitting there. So fair enough.
Yeah, and then on Sunday, the show, the cream of the crop here, 3 p.m. Eastern time, the Hollywood Casino 400 presented by our friends over at ESPN Bet. Appreciate them getting in the game here over at NASCAR. Lap 80, lap 165 are going to be those stage breaks. Lap 267 will end it. And I think just like my big thing here, it's not really a betting thing to keep in mind, but more just like a fan thing. Let's just enjoy this race. This might be the best race we get for the rest of the season, in my opinion, Elliot.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It really should be good. And shout out to ESPN Bet, like you said, sponsoring this race and really throwing out some good odds this week. ESPN Bet was normally like a secondary one. I would look at it a little bit, but there wasn't really anything original there. But we found some good stuff there that we'll talk about here in a little bit.
Some enticing matchups over there. Yeah. I mean, and honestly, like this is kind of just cool. Like I know a lot of people in down on kind of like what maybe the future outlook is for NASCAR betting. With things like this, I get excited because this is probably what the third or fourth race this season, Elliot, in one of the three series that we've had sponsored by a sportsbook. I remember we were out in Delaware, Bet Rivers. They sponsored that Xfinity race, I think, out there. And then I think Bet MGM, where they may be in on one as well.
That sounds about right. I think they did an Xfinity race just a couple of weeks ago. It sounds recent.
Yeah.
The funniest part is, though, when you have a sportsbook that sponsors a race, and you go on the other sports books, they will never call it like only BetMGM will call it the BetMGM 200. Only ESPN Bet. I think it was, I forget if it was DraftKings or Caesars or something. They just call it like the Kansas 400 or something. Like it's just funny to see how they kind of jump rope around it.
Yeah, a little bit of digs on there. You got to appreciate that. Some good marketing out there. Let's talk about some trends here for Kansas. Christopher Bell is second all-time in the Kansas average starting position, 9.0 at 9 races. We also have 8 active pole winners here. That includes a guy like Daniel Hemrick back in 2019. So I'm going to be laying off the pole bets. Not a big pole bet guy for the most part, unless I really have a strong inkling. Maybe I'm at the track on Saturday, but aside from that, going to be a tough one. A guy kind of, I think, who sits on the pole here. JTR has won 50% of them. The last 6 races we've been here, they've won 3. So something to keep in mind there. Stick with.
And that's not even just Joe Gibbs Racing. That's Christopher Bell has pulled 3 of the last 5 here. So normally I'm not a pole bet guy either. I like some qualifying matchups once in a while, but I haven't looked at him. But I'm sure Christopher Bell is far and away the qualifying favorite.
Hey, I didn't realize that. I appreciate you shouting that out. Maybe you and I are going to be together this weekend, so maybe we get down and have a little Saturday morning sweat. How about it, Jim?
Not bad. Not a bad idea.
Hamlin, he leads all actives and Kansas wins. However, we do have 9 active drivers with Kansas wins as well, 6 of which have won twice. So a bigger poll than we've kind of seen at some of these other tracks. We usually do get a new winner at Kansas, like maybe once a year or so in the 2 races. So something to keep in mind there. The deepest in the field to ever win Kansas was Brad Keselowski, 25th in 2011. And the winners here come from the front row 24% of the time. That's a little bit lower than averages for whatever reason. Top 5, 48% of the time, and top 10, 67% of the time. Like, those are all a bit lower than our usual numbers. Do you have any reason why that you think that is? Because I couldn't really make sense of that, because I feel like Kansas, like, we do usually see a lot of speed in qualifying and practice. Those are usually the good cars, but we do still see like cars in the mid-teens who qualify well or qualify decent, like move up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think like recent old school Kansas, you probably have more comers and goers, and then new school, it's a crazy enough race that like comers and goers, but definitely more more of them, I guess.
Yeah. So like the one thing like last week, if your driver started outside, I mean, really outside the front row, you're kind of fucked. But if you have a bunch of outrights on guys who qualify outside the top 20, just be careful. Like, take some nibbles. I think there is some value we'll talk about down the board a little bit that you can get some pre-practice and qualifying value. But at the same time, don't want to be like just throwing Hail Marys right away here. I think.
I think the front row last week, Bowman and Larson led like 497 of the 500. Thankfully, it's a little easier to pass.
Also, 2311 has won back-to-back Kansas playoff races. That's something to keep in mind here. I put on the thumbnail, I'm going to give you 13 reasons why to bet Red Dog here this weekend. So I'm definitely high on 2311. Really more Reddick than Bubba. No Bubba on my card. You like any 2311 this week?
I like Toyota this week. 2311. I thought so too. They were initially my first. You really got to look at these guys. It's going to be Reddick. It's going to be Bubba. They've had the wins here. They've had the good runs here. They've also had some kind of dismal runs here. I think Toyota will be fast. And this is one of 2311's best tracks. I just think things might be a little different, especially because Kansas has gotten better and other teams have gotten better over the life of the next-gen car the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I feel like we haven't gotten as many Toyota wins this season as we maybe like would think on the surface. You know what I mean? Like, Denny was hot early, and then really like this summer, it's only been T. Reddick and Christopher Bell. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, normally you would pencil in like Truex for 3 wins. It hasn't happened. Back when Kyle Busch was in a Toyota, you'd pencil him in for 3 wins a summer. We know Legacy's not winning a race anytime soon. So, yeah, the Toyota's a little bit off, but still probably like him this weekend.
Alfred letting us know C-Bell plus 350 to win the poll. Oh, that's a little short. I don't know if I can ride that.
I still might have to smash that.
Okay. All right. Take a little nibble. Ford, just like Pocono when we went in here, Ford has not won here in a while. Not as far as Pocono, but since 2020. So something to just kind of keep in mind. The blue ovals haven't been good here. So I think if you like, I have one Ford on my card, but like it's not really a Ford week to me that much.
No, I don't think so either. Toyota and Chevy have won most of those races. That 2020 win was Logano basically just air blocking Harvick. If that race had gone a little differently, maybe another manufacturer wins also.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's round out the preview of Kansas here with our iFantasyRace.com asterisk mark driver of the week. If you guys haven't checked out iFantasyRace.com yet, go over there. Come on, just do it.
If you've been watching this show this long and you still haven't looked at it, I really don't know what you're doing, because I mean, Ryan is just spectacular week in, week out, and we're grateful to have him around.
It's consistency, man. That's what we need in this space, and they deliver over there. So we appreciate them for powering us here as always. Austin Cindric this spring at Kansas, he finished 37th. But that is definitely an asterisk mark result. Performance-wise, you could argue Cindric looked like a low double-digit, mid-teens driver in that race, Cindric had the 12th best total speed ranking. And then on lap 184, while running 13th, he did crash. He was one of the better Fords in that race. That's something I want to keep in mind here, Elliot. I got a little coin on Cindric this week. I'll give you a little teaser for it. I'm interested in him, and I haven't thought about it until now, but even like maybe a top Ford bet on the guy isn't such a bad thing, hearing what iFantasy Race has to say about him.
Yeah, I hadn't realized he was an asterisk marks finish because his numbers have not been great at Kansas, as you can see, crashing out there. But his stuff in the playoffs has been just unbelievable. He's been one of those guys that has really stepped it up from his regular season performance to have a damn good round of 16 to advance. So I'm all for Cindric and some of these other guys continuing their good playoff runs this week.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What do you say, though? Should we start laying out the betting cards here?
Let's crack open those books and take a look at the parking garage props. So the books this week, my impression of it pretty standard for a mile and a half. You've got some hella juicy outright odds there, but there's some value if you dig a little bit.
Yeah, like I came in here honestly wanting to get Larson some form or fashion in my card and just couldn't really make it happen. I will say DraftKings last weekend, I don't know if it was just because of the night race, they brought the 33% boost back, which was cool. So if they have that out and Larson qualifies half decent, I might, do a little Sunday sender. But yeah, like it wasn't bad this week. I honestly liked it. It was cool to see ESPN bet throw out like just a bunch of shit box matchups. We're big fans of that over here. So I was pleased. I was pleased, man. I was a little hurt from last week's Xfinity race. I was like, I'm going to be, cautious over there. And I didn't really like what we saw from the Xfinity perspective. Truck series odds were a little bit late this week as well. But from the Cup series, like bravo on the Cup series odds. But come on, I need a little bit more for Xfinity. I need a little bit more for truck, baby.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about that forever. It'd be really neat to see some of those. A couple weeks ago, Bet365 had that random Xfinity group or two that was just the mid-pack guys, and that was a lot of fun. It really, what happens, if you put a little more work into this books, we will give you more of our money, and we will probably lose more than we win on some of these mid-pack groups just because there's so much variation there. So I don't know why you guys don't take more of our money and do it.
Yeah, absolutely agreed with you there. Let's talk about this outright market, though. What do you say? Man, like I said, I really wanted to come in here. I really wanted to potentially lay something on Larson. 4-1. It's a little short for me right now in the week before practice and qualifying. There's a chance we get a better number later. I am interested in Larson. He is circled for me. I don't have anything currently down on him at that price tag. Let's see what the weekend brings. Denny Hamlin, 5.5 to 1. Reddick, 8.5 to 1. But then it's like Bell, 13 to 1. Byron, 13 to 1. Chase, 13 to 1. And then like some big, pretty decent value down the board as well. And anything you liked in the outright market in particular that you are currently down on or will be down on pre-practice and qualifying, Elliot?
I mean, you shouted out to him right there. Christopher Bell and Chase Elliott, both at the same price, 13 to 1 over on FanDuel. Like I said, Bell has pulled 3 of the last 5 here, finished 8th and 6th in the last 2 races, and also on a hot streak. This is the time of year where Chris Bell gets hot. He's had to win races to advance in the playoffs before. He's made it happen. 6 of the last 7 oval races, short outside of a crash at Michigan, he's finished in the top 6. So he's red hot, and Kansas is a good track for him. And as for Chase, Kansas might be one of his best tracks overall. In his last 12 races here, he's been top 12 in 11 of those, top 7 in 9 of those, and he's led 40-plus laps in 5 of those. So Chase is always around the front here. He won Texas earlier in the year, which is a pretty good comp as well.
Yep.
So the 20 and the 9 car. Like I said, Larson, as tempted as I am to go Larson, that's just way too juicy of a price for me to want to get down on right now, even though I may have content come out tomorrow that says otherwise. I'm not going to say it here.
Yeah, I'm with you right there. And like Elliott's a guy I do have like interest in. My ears kind of perked up a little bit seeing what he did at Texas. Let's not forget, also won an Xfinity race at Charlotte earlier this season, had a strong running there in the Cup Series as well. So yeah, don't hate those calls at all from you. Christopher Bell, like I again, this is just a personal thing. I went all in on him at Watkins Glen a little bit, got burned on the top 10. So I think I'm just a little trepidatious, but you're right. The guy's been just an absolute unit on ovals over the last 2 months. So hard to fade him either way. Here in the chat, looks like we got some Austin Dillon love plus 600. Yeah. Charles sent me this the other night. Actually, we were talking about this. AD not bad there. We'll pull that back up here when we get to placement props. I do want to talk about Tyler Reddick though.
Mm-hmm.
I think just based on his recent finishes, Elliot, I can't help but think that he was putting some emphasis on Kansas here. Like he hasn't been running great lately. Like Bell has kind of been the shining star. Larson has been that shining star. I think he's been circling this. Hey, let's get to Kansas. I know I'm going to be locked in pretty much up until then, just based off my playoff point cushion because of the regular season championship. Reddick won this race last season. And not only that, but aside from Larson, Reddick's been the most consistent on the comp track so far this season. He is second in the high speed, intermediate plus Michigan total speed rankings. He also won Michigan, which is, in my opinion, one of the closest comp tracks. That's our most recent comp track as well. He won that race. Was he the most dominant car? No, but he had the late run speed like Larson does. I think you could have it again here. He was fourth at Charlotte, fourth at Texas, second at Vegas as well. So all the comp tracks, he's looked good. The only blemish on Reddick and why you wouldn't want to bet him and why I think 850 is still out there for him, which I got down on for a unit and a half, is he didn't have a great run in the spring. He absolutely did not. However, he was still P8 in stage 2's end, had a 12.5 average running position, 13th in the total speed rankings. But now's the time. 2311 turns it on. Now is the time they go forward here, I think, as an organization. So this is right where they did it last year. So I think they need the momentum. I'm going to ride the back of the regular season champion here.
Yeah, with Reddick, I'm cautiously optimistic this week because you're right. He's had the speed here before. He's won similar comp tracks. The round of 16 was not the best for him, but also none of those tracks were like Kansas. So the 45 car kind of being like, okay, we're on the regular season title. We'll make sure we get through and then really turn it on. That definitely makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. That for me, like if I was looking, like I just can't trust Denny. Like Denny was, right behind Larson. Like it was really Larson, Denny, and Reddick were the clear ones in my modeling and research that really popped out to me. And I just think Reddick's the best value, and I think he's going to go out there. I think he's going to put himself somewhere in the top 5 after qualifying. We're not going to see plus 850 again, so that's why I like him quite a bit. Brian here in the chat, what's up, Brian Brown? Saying I think Reddick, Bell, and Hamlin are all going to be strong. Yeah, I mean, I think
all Toyotas too, so that really shows the Toyota love.
Yeah, I think it's out there in spades for sure. Anyone else in the outright market a little bit down the board that you liked at all?
Those are my 2 outright numbers that I got, the 20 and the 9.
Okay, let me throw a couple out to you then. I'm taking a couple nibbles here. Ross Chastain, 30-1 at Bet Rivers. I went a fourth of a unit on this, just a little nibble. This is just a value play to me. I think you're going to get positive CV going into the weekend on this. Ross's starts at Kansas in the next gen era. P2, P6, P3, P5, P11. That's where he started. He hasn't finished there. But everyone remembers that great battle that we saw with him and Larson during the beginning of that spring race as well. He led some laps, 16% of them, was 6th in the total speed rankings as well, and also 8th in the comp total speed rankings this season. No worse than 12th in the total speed rankings at any of those tracks so far this season. So this is just me snagging a number here, Elliot. Like Ross could come out flat. I don't have many placements to cover me on this. It's just, hey, maybe he shows up. He's looked faster as of late.
Yeah, I don't hate that. He's another guy, again, cautiously optimistic. The stats have been there before, but he's also been a little shaky. But you're right, ran pretty well here in the spring.
I also want to shout out here someone who's getting a little love in the chat that you also love, my friend, Bowman. Charles saying, I've also put down on Bowman top 10 at plus 110. Bob saying, yeah, Bowman's sneaky play. What's up, Bob? Good to see you, man. Yeah, I like Bowman a lot here. Honestly, 33-1 is a misprice to me, Elliot. I don't know why, and I think you could probably speak to this better than me, but Bowman is like some guy, you look at the comp tracks this season, kind of dog shit, has finished top 10 just one time out of 4 of them, but he's not a comp guy. Like, he just has his tracks. I don't understand. Like, this guy is not a comp guy. He just had, like, Chicago, Coda, Kansas, Dover. He just like Richmond. He just has the Vegas. He just shows up at these tracks every single season. He's 4 for 4 for finishing inside the top 10 in the next gen era. And also it's just been running good. 2 top 10s in the last round. Like, he locked himself early into that round of 12. I'm sure you were excited. So can you speak to a little more about like why you think Bowman is like this, and like if you find value at the 33-1 number? And also I found him plus 130 ESPN bet as well that I went down on for the top 10.
See, the top 10, I'm absolutely smashing. The best number I saw was plus 120 at FanDuel. And I mean, you said it all. 4 straight top 10s here. More than half the Kansas races have been top 10. 18% in the top 5. No worse than 18th with Hendrick Motorsports. Only twice he's been outside the top 11. He's just fucking weird. You're right, because he's not a comp guy. He just has his tracks. And Kansas has tracks. Before he got his first, and this is, if I had the purple glasses, I want to put out there to anybody who doesn't know me, you see, I have the Bowman sign up here. I'm a Bowman guy. That means sometimes I can have bias for or against him. Like, I don't have the outright, because watching him closely enough, I don't think he's going to be able to get the win. But I do like the top 10 because he's run so well. He turns it on in the playoffs, and he's had good history here. Before he had got that first win in Chicago in 2019, he damn near won the spring race, and Brad Keselowski passes him toward the end, led a bunch of laps. And probably the most recent race in Cup that we've seen Alex Bowman go out, dominate, lead a bunch, fall 2022 at Kansas, before he was knocked out with the injury. Led more than 100 laps. Bubba Wallace ends up winning the race. I think Alex ended up in the top 5 there. I love the top 10. I might even love the top 5. I do agree the win price is a misprice. Do I think he's going to win? Probably not.
Probably not. No.
That's a hell of a valuable price. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Glad to hear you're on with me. Looks like we have some of the other IBT family members riding shotgun with us on that bet as well. So
I appreciate not being the only one, because then people can actually look at the Bowman stats and say, well, that fucking guy's just a Bowman fan. Why am I going to bet him? This is one of those tracks where you should bet him.
The comps almost threw me off of this, I'm going to be honest. And then I was like, well, that's just not Bowman, So
he's got his tracks where he's good. He's got a track that can be exactly the same and run terrible there. He's just something else. And that's part of why I'm a fan, but it's also part of why it makes him infuriating to try to bet.
Absolutely. Let's move on to placement props here, Elliot. As I mentioned, I do have that plus 130 at ESPN Bet, the best price I could find for the Bowman top 10. I also have a top 5 for Reddick, plus 120 at Bet Rivers as well. I'm excited about both those plays. I'm also taking a little nimble here, heel turn moment again, but Austin Cindric, 4-1 top 10 at Caesars. I just can't look past this price, man. I don't want to say he's like back, but I think he has turned it around, man. He's been no worse than P13 over the past month. He's already tied the top 10s he had last season, 5 of them with 7 races to go. Cinny right now, I mean, coming into Kansas, he was pretty good here last year, honestly. 12th in the total speed rankings, 8th in the green flag speed in the spring, was running 13th when he did crash. So kind of has, as we mentioned, a misleading asterisk mark finish there. 2 top 10s in 5 next-gen races here. That's just under 50%. Like, to get a 4-1, like, the implied odds don't really add up with what the value is here. And he started top 10 in 3 out of 5 races here as well. No worse than 18th. So he's not a guy I think who's going to unload slow, especially he's in the playoffs. They got to put it together. And at the comps this season, Elliot, he's unloaded fast at least. No top 10s. But he did start 3rd at Vegas, started 8th at Texas as well. So I just think 4-1 is crazy for a playoff driver who's shown speed lately and shown speed at Kansas this season as well.
Yeah, I've got this bet on my card also. I found him at plus 425 over at BetMGM. Ooh. Like you said, the Kansas stats, not so great, but in the last 4 races, he's finished no worse than 13th. He's got the momentum, and in the playoffs, that's what matters to me more, is who can turn it on in the playoffs. Cindric was a guy who almost nobody, including myself, expected to advance out of that round, but he did. And now it's almost you're playing with house money. You've already proven everybody wrong. You're already in the next round. You're in a fucking Penske car. You know you've got the equipment to go out there and win races and run well. No reason why he can't keep it turned on. The points deficit obviously gets to a point where you eventually, even if you do run 2nd, 5th, and 8th, you're still not going to advance points-wise if you don't have the playoff points. But for Cindric, the top 10 bet, and he's still going to be a fun guy to watch for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Chuck saying Cindric top 421. I will be taking a nibble on it. I don't have it on my card. I don't know what I can find it at, but I know that's a Bovada price tag there. So I'm sure we can find maybe even a little bit better here in some of the legals as well. So yeah, definitely taking a nibble there, top forward. Bob, this D-Gen, half a unit on Cindric to win the championship. Hey, The thing, remember what I said about Suarez? I didn't take the championship outright, but if you would have taken that championship outright when I shouted out a couple weeks ago, like 125-1,
Yeah,
you're getting cashed out right now at a profit at FanDuel. Probably same here for Cindric to win the championship. So good on you, man. That's
yeah.
Hopefully.
I would shit on it, but as a guy who has money on Bowman to win the title, that's just as dumb of a bet. But you're right. It's the cash out opportunity that could end up being there. And the cash out and the good equipment thing. Same thing. If you're in a Penske car, Penske's won the title each of the last 2 years. Penske's won the title each of the last 2 years with drivers that have not been the best in the regular season and have turned it on in the playoffs. So in this day and age, anybody that makes the playoffs can go and win the title.
Let's go, Cinny. Let's go. Who else you got? What else you got from placement props perspective?
A couple other long shot top 10s here. Noah Gragson at plus 390 over on FanDuel. He was 9th in the spring, and he's quietly been hot the last couple weeks, 11th and 12th. All the attention has been on Briscoe with Stewart Haas Racing. Everyone else has kind of fallen to the wayside there. But Gragson, another guy that's kind of showing some speed here before he heads off to front row next year. And Justin Haley, why not crown that 7 car with a top 10 at plus 800 on BetMGM? The 7 car the last couple weeks with Lajoie, 9th, 15th, and 8th. And if I recall correctly, was not running too terrible at Bristol before crashing out. Of course, I was only checking the lineup once in a while. I wasn't in front of the screen like I normally would be. And Haley in the 51 in the spring was 18th, which is obviously not a top 10, but is respectable enough at 8-1 with the 7 car continuing to ascend and Haley back in the Spire equipment could be worth a nibble.
Yeah, I just struggle with them switching manufacturers. You know what I mean? I think that's my I guess big thing is I don't know how much it makes a difference, but I feel like it probably does. Maybe not at Kansas, is more like some of the short tracks. It probably feels a bit different, and probably some of the super speedways as well, I'd imagine, just because the nose is a bit different on them.
Maybe I would agree with you more even a couple of years ago, but with how spec the next gen is, I mean, there's very slight variations in body style, and obviously the motors are made differently. Otherwise, these are the exact same cars. If Bristol showed us anything, it shows these are really the same cars. And arguably, especially Kansas, Chevy's better than Ford at Kansas. Can only help.
True. Anything else from you for placement props?
I threw out the 4 top 10s I got.
Okay. All right. Let's go to matchups. And again, we kind of alluded to this earlier, but my goodness, did ESPN bet? I mean, they got a lot of shitbox matchups. I didn't find an edge in a lot of them. But if you guys did follow me on Twitter, I put out with Betting Pros earlier this week. My bet of the week here is John Hunter Nemechek minus 105 at ESPN bet versus Corey Lajoie. I could not believe this. Corey Lajoie is the favorite in this matchup, like minus 130 right now. Easily one of the biggest misprices I've seen all season. ESPN bet, thanks for getting in the game, my friend. And I'm about to take you to town here this week on this bet. Listen, JHN owns Kansas, dude. He won this Xfinity race earlier this season, if you remember, because it's kind of a freaking boring race because he almost dominated the whole damn thing. And also finished 13th in Cup as well. Lajoie was 26. JHN is 3-0 at the comp tracks this season in the races he has not wrecked out at. Could he wreck out here? Absolutely. That's what JHN likes to do in these next-gen cars. You know about it.
Jimmy's running this week, so if a legacy car is going to wreck out, we know JHN won't be the first one.
That's true. Good point. Little buffer there for a guy, JHN. But like, to me, like, Lajoie is going to a back marker. Not a back marker. I don't want to call him. I guess.
It's still a back marker. In this day and age, a back marker is a lot different than it was even 6 years ago, where you still had start and parks. You had guys that were way off. The only back marker in that sense that's still here is probably the 66 or the 44. Other than that, everyone's competitive enough. Yeah. But it is still fair in the current climate to call the RWR cars back markers.
Yeah, I just like to me, I mean, I would have faded Lajoie against a lot of people this week. So it's not that like I'm crazy high on JHN, but he just happens to be good at Kansas. Has kind of been running like dog shit lately. It's the one thing kind of going against him. But I mean, dude, like Corey Lajoie showed up for the first day of school this week. You know what I mean? Like he had his best outfit on Monday. He showed up with his cup of coffee ready to go. Like I cannot get behind a driver that is moving to a new team, moving to a new manufacturer, and it's a downgrade in my opinion as well. So, I mean, give me JHN over Lajoie all day. This is one of my favorite bets of the season, Elliot.
It's tough just because the results haven't been there for JHN, but you're right. Kansas is one of the very few tracks where you don't want to just fade him or completely ignore him on your cards.
It's like Kansas and Atlanta. You know what I mean? He has speed, like pretty much in the Cup Series. It's where we've seen him have speed. So it's like I'm gonna back it, man. Like if Lajoie was 26 in a Spire car, I think he's 30 plus here. All I need is JHN to get me like 26 or better, and he got 13th here in the spring. So just need a little bit, something in that range. So I like that a lot. Anything else you find here in the shitbox matchups or any of the higher profile ones?
So the only shitbox matchup that I picked up, I'm going to keep rolling on the Justin Haley train. He's minus 105 over Michael McDowell at minus 125 over on ESPN Bet.
Well, Spire.
Yeah, normally I'd be tempted to go McDowell here, but he's 7 races away from joining Haley at Spire Motorsports. He even told us, even at Dover, if not Pocono, alluded to the fact that manufacturer support for him and his team has been kind of trickling away, kind of going away. And we just haven't seen McDowell run all that well the last few weeks, even last few months. Haven't been quite as good for our guy McNasty. He's kind of running out the clock there with Ford in that 34. So with what I already said about Haley, I like this matchup. And I've got some others here to just fade some Toyotas. I'll open it up to you if you have any more. I don't remember. And then I'll go to these guys.
No, go ahead.
All right. So this is my good opportunity. I don't want to fade Tyler Reddick too much because I do think he's going to run up front.
Red Dog.
If you have matchups with Tyler Reddick against the 2 guys who I have outrights for, it's another good way to make money. For Bell, he's plus 107 over the 45, who's at minus 139 over on Bet Rivers. Like we were talking about, the 45 has been good, but has also been inconsistent here. Finishes a 20 plus in 4 of the last 6 races here, even with that win separate. And in the last 3 of the last 5 Cup races in general, Reddick's been 20th or worse. So that super duper hot streak, no worse than 8th or whatever, is kind of gone. And like you said, maybe that's almost intentional. Focus our resources to Kansas in the round of 12. Just still not seeing it on paper for Reddick. And Chase Elliott also plus 130 over the 45 at minus 165 on BetMGM. Plus money on guys I had the outrights for over a guy who I'm only cautiously optimistic about. I feel like it's a good opportunity for me.
Yeah, no, for your card, it makes absolute sense. I just can't get in the business of fading Tyler Reddick here. I really think as we get down the stretch, like I got the 15-1 championship ticket on him. I think you have a 15-1 as well. And like, I think this is where he turns it on. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe it's the Bell show. Maybe it is the Elliott show, but so I don't blame the call. They're good prices. Like they are good prices. Like Reddick hasn't been so dominant that he probably deserves to be that heavy of a favorite. I was looking for him in matchups. I was trying to play him and I couldn't play him at those odds against these good drivers. So I don't blame you for going the other way with it.
I think you will agree with me though on fading this other guy. I'm finally 100% on the fade Truex train.
Oh, wow. It only took you 29 races, my friend.
I've already accepted that over 2.5 that I hit is arguably one of the worst bets I've ever placed. That was pretty bad. Clearly, he's checked out. He said himself pretty much that he's checked out. He got eliminated from the playoffs. Probably not going to get that win unless he gets lucky somewhere. So I'm fading the fuck out of Truex the rest of the year. Chase Elliott is in a matchup against him. Ooh. He's the favorite, though, minus 114 against Truex with even odds. But I'm okay drinking a little bit of juice here. Just there's no reason to go with the 19 here. I even like Chris Buescher at plus 110 over the 19, who's minus 140. That's over on Bet365. Buescher's run well enough lately. And like I said, just anybody versus Truex, short of like JHN or Lajoie or somebody, I'm probably taking the side against Martin Truex Jr.
It's crazy because like, wow, like I have been off Truex and I haven't bet him for probably 3 months going on 4. I haven't faded him enough. You know what I mean? Like you really have made money if you have faded Martin Truex Jr. He did finish 4th here. He did have a really nice run. Didn't unload particularly fast. And I think he kind of made that car better with adjustments throughout the race there. But does he have that still? Does he still want to be diagnosing the car mid-race? And it just hasn't been a great team, a great car to get behind as of late. So I don't mind. I really like the Chase one, to be honest with you. I think that I might be considering that for my card. I'm going to look over that a little bit more this evening. But I mean, I feel like I've left a lot of money on the table not fading Truex harder in matchups like this. So I love the strategy here. I love what you're doing.
Honestly, dude, I feel like Truex would rather, now that it's getting fall, it's getting to be like hunting season. I think Truex would rather just get the fuck out of the 19. If Briscoe hadn't advanced in the playoffs, just put Briscoe in that car a little early and have Truex go off into the tree stand and kind of roll it out and come back for his part-time next year. Because he's clearly done with the full-time. He's okay with taking a break. He'll come back and run his fun races next year and not have to be around. for the not so
Yeah.
fun races.
Yeah, agreed. Hopefully, maybe him and his brother can figure out something for Ryan in the Xfinity. Maybe they can split a car. I don't know what.
That's most of the reason I feel like Martin is sticking around, is he wants to try to put something together for him to go run some fun races and to try to get Ryan something. We don't know what's happened with the JGR Xfinity, Sam Hunt Xfinity, maybe something like that. It'd be neat to see that happen. It will be neat to see Martin around. I think we'll see kind of a different Martin Truex Jr. He won't have him deal with the Cup guys week in, week out. Probably refreshed, be all right up in the tree stand or out on the lake for half the summer, and then come back for a few races and have a good old time.
Yeah, I know probably like I know we have some badass people who watch this program. So I'm just going to say, if you happen to work in a marketing department of a company and you guys got a couple mil laying around, consider sponsoring Ryan Truex. My goodness, this guy is a really good driver. He needs to get in a car. Don't want to take us down a tangent road, but my goodness, is it? And when we talked to him at Dover, I asked him, what's next, man? What's next on the bucket list? It's win. That's all this guy wants to do. He doesn't care about the pageantry. Kind of a lot like his brother in that sense. You know what I mean? Where he just wants to race. He doesn't want to deal with the bullshit. He doesn't want to talk to you and I, Elliot, and the media, but just a gamer out there. So love Ryan Truex, and hopefully he can find the funding. Speaking of Truex, anything else for you in the Cup Series, whether that's in the matchup department or the special, before we flip over to Xfinity?
A group bet that I saw, again, just more throwing money on Bowman. Caesars Group D, he's at plus 350. That's over Kyle Busch, who's at plus 185, over Logano, who's at plus 220, and over Chastain, who's at plus 280. I feel like Kyle Busch probably a non-factor. Logano and Chastain maybe more so.
Chastain's who I'm worried about, yeah.
I just look at the 48, how they've run the last couple races and how damn good he is at Kansas. And normally I would fade Bowman in these group bets too, because there's always one where you're like, well, maybe he can outrun this guy, but maybe not. I think Kansas is the opportunity. Like I said, if you're going to throw money on Bowman, do it this week.
Yep. Yeah. I don't hate that. It's hard. Like I said, I'm kind of high on Ross a little bit too, but I don't hate the other two that you're kind of fading that group as well. Anything from a special? Oh, good.
Yeah. One other special that I have, the race to go to overtime at plus 350. Not only is the Cup Series chaotic, not only is it the playoffs, but I noticed something when I was looking at the spring race. There were only 3 green flag runs that were longer than 50 laps. It felt kind of like a staggered, green and yellow, and then this wreck and that wreck and that other thing. And the overtime finish, plus 350 race to go to overtime.
Okay. Yeah. Good shout out there. Appreciate that. Let's go to the Xfinity Series, man, where, it was pretty chalky. I feel like up at the top of the board, you have an all guy plus 350. Really, Gator should be the favorite in this race. If John Hunter Nemechek was racing in it, I would throw my entire, bankroll at it, I feel like, or at least in a top 5 or a top 3 bet. He's not. In those Joe Gibbs cars, we got Almirola, who's weirdly driving the 19 now, and now we've seen Taylor Gray flip to the 20, which I don't know if that matters, but I think the 20 is the better car for whatever reason. So hard for me to want to get invested with any of those guys. Almirola hasn't been in the car enough. I don't know how focused he is after kind of the fallout he had earlier this season.
It's weird because he had that fallout. Now I think he's in the car the rest of the way in Xfinity. So,
is that how, really?
I think so. And I think I just realized probably why JHN is not running either, that if you're running for either Cup points, I don't know if it's Cup points and Truck points or just Cup points, that you cannot run Xfinity or Truck races. So that's why.
Okay. Yeah. So that makes sense. But yeah, so it's I don't want to get invested with the Gibbs guys. Gator broke my heart last week, and I can't do it again. This is every time. Justin Allgaier will probably win this race because I bet on him last week, and I'm afraid to bet on him. I only have one bet for the Xfinity Series this week, but I'll turn it over to you first if you have anything for the second tier series.
Yeah, I'll start with a couple. I've got a couple of bets. I'll start with a couple outrights. I do like the Gibbs guys, but the guy I like is Chandler Smith. He's at plus 650. I know he's kind of cooled off in the summer, but the last 5 races in the Xfinity Series really quietly has been red hot. 2nd, 8th, 4th, and 3rd in the last 5 races. He's only run one Xfinity race. It was with Colleague. It went shitty because he was with Colleague. In the Truck Series, 5th, 11th, 4th, and 6th. Those are some pretty damn good runs. I don't have his top 5 here, which is really dumb because that's a better bet than the outright probably. It probably was minus 120 or something, which is why I didn't put it down.
Might not be a bad bet. Yeah, I kind of like that.
The outright at plus 650, I don't hate it. And maybe this guy is not experienced enough on ovals yet, but Connor Zilic at 10-1 in that 88 car. I don't know if he goes out and wins, but his top 5 is at plus 140. Top Chevy is at plus 600. He's won 4 ARCA ovals this year. I mean, they didn't run Kansas, but he won Michigan, which is a relatively close comp, like you said. And JRM has been good. They won the Glen. They ran well enough there with Dale Jr. at Bristol. So this isn't a team that's a slouch. They're building some momentum, and they're wanting to get him started really well off next year.
Yeah, I maybe be interested to see. He was in a couple matchups I saw around. Maybe I would take another look at it as well. And I know kind of like a disappointing run from him in the Truck Series on the oval recently, but like still pretty good damn run for the kid. And like,
yeah, I think he ran Richmond and got into, I don't know if he got into an accident or like some pit trouble or something like that, but I think that affected his finish too.
But he has speed everywhere he goes, man. He pulled that race. You know what I mean? So it's like,
right, yeah.
It probably would be smart to get invested some way with Connor Zilic here. I'll probably honestly be taking a second look at this now that you've kind of brought this to my attention. So I don't hate that at all. In the comments, Alfred, he likes Sheldon Creed. Bob likes Sheldon Creed.
Sheldon Creed to finish second. Yeah, I wish we could bet that. Sheldon Creed top 3, whatever that number is. I'll take that.
Yeah. And any love for Creed here? I also saw we have some Jesse Love as well in the chat.
Bob and Jesse Love is like me and Alex Bowman at this point.
Yeah. That's a good point. Anything else here from the Xfinity series that you're considering right now?
Yeah, so I also have the Toyota to win at plus 230, which was pretty long odds. In the Xfinity series, they've won 4 of the last 6 and 9 of the last 12. And I think Chevrolet was far and away the favorite here. So Toyota plus money, especially if I like Smith this much, probably a good bet here. And I got Brandon Jones for a top 5 at plus 190. He's won twice here.
Yeah.
He's been top 4 each of the last 2 races here as well. I don't know that he's going to make some noise anywhere else this year as he leaves JRM and is going to head back to JGR next year. But 190 for a top 5. Good old Brandon Jones, show a little bit of speed one more time.
Yeah, he's like another one. Like, can he just get out of his own way? Can the team get out of their own way? Because they just seem kind of cursed over there. But I still like this call no matter what. And I'm going to stay in that JRM camp. I'm going to go Sammy Smith plus 225 for the top 5. I think I found this at Caesars for that price tag. This is a guy who's just had really raw speed here. Started second in this race last season at Kansas. We don't come to Kansas in the spring for the Xfinity. Also 4th in green flag speed in that race as well. And at the comp tracks, we've made money at Sammy Smith. You remember me earlier in the season. I was fading this guy everywhere I could get my hands on him. And now I've been riding him. Had P5 at our most recent comp track in Michigan. I hit that. P3 at Charlotte. I hit that. And then P8 at Texas, P8 at Las Vegas. So like he's been in the mix. If he doesn't finish top 5, he's going to finish 8th. So maybe consider a matchup with him as well. But he was matched up with like Sam Mayer, couldn't really do that. Like just some of these other guys who are pretty good. And look, dude, he's got to have a good run. He's below the cut line already. Like, let's get going, Sammy Smith. At your time, bud.
Yeah. He didn't have Quapple in a matchup. It doesn't have Quapple to match up with this week. So I understand going on the side of Sammy Smith. We talked about it in the Cup Series, your Bowmans, your Cindricks, your Suarez that really didn't have the most impressive regular seasons. Turn it on in the playoffs, be able to advance. Sammy Smith very easily could be one of those guys in Xfinity. Barely scrapes in, already below the cut line playoff points wise before we even start. Why not go out there, get a good run to start yourself off, get some points, put yourself above that cut line a little bit.
And like the 2 things I think in Sammy Smith's favor this weekend is, one, I like the kid's moxie right now. He was interviewed after last week's race and like he was pissed off. Like they're like, hey man, you advanced to the playoffs. Like, are you happy? He's like, no, dude, like we're not running where we should be. Like the kid is hungry still. I love to see that out of a young kid who comes with some, pretty good backing and everything. And then, look, dude, like JRM at this point, like who are they going to put their like eggs in their basket? Like obviously Allgaier, he's going to get probably the most support that they can because they have a chance to win a championship. But like aside from that, Brandon Jones out the door, Sam Mayer out the door, like Sammy Smith to me, like I know that's not the way everything works, in a garage, but I think if I had to place money on who's showing up to that JRM beautiful building that you and I both took a tour of this season, like I think it's Sammy Smith probably showing up earlier than Sam Mayer, probably showing up earlier than Brandon Jones right now. So give me a little Sammy Smith, baby.
Yeah, that's a really good point that I hadn't thought of as well. Half your team's going out the door, and the 5th car is a driver that you is technically a Trackhouse guy who's not running full time anyway till next year. So I totally get that. Obviously, they want to get Allgaier a championship. Probably everyone in that building is working toward that. But you're right. There are some people that are going to run toward the 88 and run toward Sammy Smith. And the kid's got the potential. He's run well. He's won Xfinity races. He could definitely be a sneaky guy to go out there, run well, and advance to the next round unexpectedly once we get there in a couple weeks.
I don't know if we have any odds makers who have ever stumbled upon this hell of a program, but if they ever do, I'd love to do some like team bets in Xfinity too. Like, can I just hammer JRM? Can I just, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's
JRM would probably be like plus 150 or something this week, but it still might not be a bad bet.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of where my allegiances lie in Xfinity. Anything else you had here?
Not for Xfinity.
Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and round out the bets with some Truck Series bets. I know you had a longer look at them than I did. I only had them at DraftKings. I don't know where you found them, you sly dog. But what do you got for us in the trucks on Friday night?
Yeah, it must have been either Bet365 or something like that. I didn't find truck odds a lot of places too. But two that I do like, Lane Riggs is a 16-1 to win, and I understand his spring Kansas didn't go well. His intermediates haven't gone well. But he's won the last two. Why can't he go 3 in a row? That's basically the only reason I'm shouting this out. I don't have any coin on it yet. I don't know if I will. I bet I do like a little better, though. Caden Honeycutt, top 5 at 2-1. Maybe a little shorter than I would like. But he was 4th here in the spring. He's probably in one of those niche trucks that doesn't run as well as they used to, but still run pretty well in this intermediate program. Honeycutt, another guy, scraping and fighting for every chance he can get. And he's going to want to go out there, put out a good run. And he did it in the spring. Why not do it again?
Two things on this. One, even when you like are backing a niche truck, you're still like taking backhanded, you're still like taking digs at Al Nice every chance you get. Like,
it's just the facts. They ran really well. They had some support from someone else. I think they had a really good couple of years, and I guess I shouldn't shit on them that much because Hocevar did make the championship for
Ross
last year with them.
Yeah, Ross won
already this year. Maybe it's just the fact that they're putting good drivers in the car. Sometimes they're putting funded drivers. In the car.
Yeah.
That might be what it is. That I'm thinking Nice is running worse. It may just be that some of the drivers are putting in those cars maybe aren't running so well. But then you put a Caden Honeycutt in there or a Ross Chastain in there, and you remember what Nice Motorsports used to be.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that if you ever see Al Nice when we're at a track, keep your head on a fucking swivel, Ellie, because you're fucking getting one right to the dome from Al. I'll tell you that. And honestly, I probably will be investing in this Honeycutt top 5. I know you and I probably want something to sweat out here tomorrow night as well. So I am probably going to be getting invested with it. I think that's a great call. Honeycutt was one guy. I was hoping Zane Smith would be back in this race. He was a guy who raced.
The cup can't go down to other
He was a guy that Kansas was my best truck race ever to date. I had the high mount right now. It's like plus 115 at DraftKings. I can't do that, but I would like to somehow get invested with Heim, whether that's, even drinking some juice on a heavy top 3 or something. I would be interested. I think the Honeycutt's interesting. Nick Sanchez has looked good at some of these comp tracks. We know he won one of our comp tracks as well this season. So I think Sanchez for a top 5. I think I saw him minus 120 on DraftKings. I was looking at that a little bit as well. So those are kind of I think the big ones for me that I am considering here.
Yeah, I don't hate Sanchez, and I wanted to try to get down on Brendan Queen. Butterbean is back in that number 1, but he just doesn't have enough out there on bigger tracks.
Yeah,
I think his top 5 was probably 8, 9, 10 to 1, something pretty long, but I just don't know that he can get it done here. But it's exciting to see, again, guys like that getting opportunities and good equipment is always a plus.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we get some odds from Caesars here in the next day. Hopefully ESPN Bet can get in on the action as well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Marcus here in the chat asking who's everyone's picking for Kansas, stoking those flames. You know who he's on. He's on Christopher Bell as every weekend here. We appreciate you, Marcus.
Hey, Marcus, I don't know if you were here. He was the first outright that I shouted out. So this is definitely a good Chris Bell week for you. We'll give you some love there for sure.
Yeah, there you go. What do you say, though? You got anything else from a betting perspective before we jump over and round out the show, little DFS tiers?
No, I think, no pun intended, round out the show with those DFS tire tiers.
Let's do it.
So your driver changes for the week. Kaz Grala is in the number 15 for RWR. Our favorite Ty Dillon is in the 16. JJ Yaley's in the 44 car. Jimmy Johnson in the 84. He's back and going to try to actually finish top 29 in one of these next-gen things. And remember, Justin Haley and Corey LaJoie have traded rides Haley is in the number 7, and Lajoie in the number 51 the rest of the way. Price-wise, my God, Kyle Larson is at 11.5 on DraftKings. Denny Hamlin, 11,000. Reddick at 10.5 and on down the line.
But can you blame him?
No.
Kyle Larson, I think he had – our guy Andrew Yu is really into the historical DFS data, so I would want to pull him to see maybe what he could find for this. Larson had one of the craziest DFS days I've ever seen last weekend. 198 DraftKings points. 198. This comes 3 weeks removed from scoring 124 at Darlington. I mean, this guy, high tire wear, this is his thing. So I think we'd be remiss, as much as we like Reddick, and much as I like Reddick and you like Bell this weekend. I mean, Larson's got to be he's got to be in the lineup, right?
I think he's got to be top of the board. I mean, I hate that price, but I think he's got to be top of the board. And then I think the 45 and the 20 probably right behind him before we start to get into some of these other guys. But yeah, I mean, it's a steep price to pay, and there is some value down board that you can justify the 11.5 for Larson. But man, oh man.
Yeah, absolutely. Where does Denny belong to you? I think like, is it just a three driver top tier for you here? Can you sneak Bell in, or can you sneak Denny in? Can you sneak Elliott in? Those would kind of be the only other guys I would maybe consider even.
Yeah, they were the two I was thinking. I think they're both worthy of the A's. Like we said with Denny, barely makes it into the next round. I don't quite know how he's going to do, but you're right. These are guys who maybe the comp tracks are better here. Same as these other guys who maybe they're focused more on the round of 12.
Yeah, and I mean, we can shit all we want on Denny Hamlin too, but I mean, his freaking averages here are just insane. I mean, you got to go back a long time between the last time this guy has not ran well here. Let's just, like, in the next gen era, 4th, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 5th, like, he's safe. He's safe, and for the price you're paying, it's fine. Like, it's 11. I just think these other guys have more upside, and I think you would agree on that, especially kind of just what we're seeing, like, out of the Joe Gibbs racing camp in general. Everyone but Christopher Bell seems like occasionally, like every 5 races, they get a lemon.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And just the Toyota worries still kind of scare me across all of them for their occasional kind of engine mess ups and things like that. Still some maybe PTSD from Denny being literally 2 seconds off the pace in Atlanta qualifying. But yeah, like I said, most of the Toyotas outside of Bell, cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, absolutely. Who else do you like for the B tier here, Elliot?
So you're getting down into it because some of these other higher price guys are like Blaney, Byron, Truex. I don't know that I love any of them.
I like Byron. I like Byron. I think Byron's interesting. 5th in the total speed rankings at the comp so far this season. And honestly, like, he's been a top 5 machine, whether it's been Charlotte, whether it's been Texas, whether it's been any of these high speed intermediates, Michigan, he's been there, and that's even continued through kind of his downward spiral. So Byron, to me, is the one guy I do feel comfortable playing in the Bs. We can rank guys above him, but I think he would be a high B for me somewhere.
Yeah, some of these Bs, I'm going to go all B drivers, no pun intended with the Bs, but your Byron, your Blaney, your Bubba, your Buscher, and your Bowman are the guys that I'm looking at in the B tier probably.
Yeah, I think Bowman 8 flat. Like, I mean, that's a damn 8 flat for Bowman. I think 7-8 for Chastain as well. Like those, I think
Ross is another guy. True.
Yeah, I this is probably the highest we've ranked Ross in a while. I think he needs to be on there. I don't hate them at all. What to you is screaming Buscher? Is it just that freaking heater, that rocket he unloaded in the fall? And he's been fast lately. He got a win a couple weeks ago. I thought maybe we'd see that transfer into Bristol. We did not. But is that the Bristol or the Buscher love there?
Yeah, fast lately, and also literally this freaking close to winning that, and the closest finish in NASCAR history in the spring. Ran really well, and that wasn't even a fluke. He was running pretty well most of the end of that race, even with that green white checker at the end.
Yeah, 8.5's a fine price for him. I think, like, if you play up a Larson, you might be able to fit a Buscher, and that's probably as high as you can go for your second driver. So I don't hate that call at all. Ryan Blaney, I think you said Blaney already, right? He should probably
but Blaney and Bubba were the other two that I was really thinking of for the Bs here. Not that there aren't other guys that could go in the Bs, but
yeah, Ryan Blaney, to me, like, he doesn't have the upside here. 12th in the comp total speed rankings this season. Also, just kind of looking what he's done here in the past. Like he finished 12th here in the spring. Like that's kind of like he's a borderline top 10 car. But I said the same thing for him at Bristol when he was 6th last week and had a pretty good run. He'll be quiet. I don't think he'll get a lot of headlines this weekend, but I think Blaney probably deserves to be in the B tier. You and I are both high on Austin Cindric, though. Can Cindric potentially sneak in here? Like I think if you have Blaney, if you want to have another Ford, I think we could consider Austin Cindric potentially, who, hey, he had a good run going here earlier this season. He's had at least unloading speed. But then again, for DFS, he could go backwards maybe, which is always, something hard to roster, I guess.
Yeah, and that's the main reason that I was thinking more C rather than B for Cindric. I think he should lead off the C's, but I do think you're right. There's a really high chance goes out there, qualifies like P6. Story of the weekend: Cindric running well again. Slays the stinker in the race, ends up 18th. You lose all that differerential and don't really get a lot of upside otherwise.
Yeah. What about Briscoe? Because Briscoe's a guy
the other Briscoe and definitely Briscoe. Suarez was the other guy. Suarez.
Yeah.
Other good playoff drivers who probably deserve to be in the C's. Briscoe at 8,100, Suarez 7,400. Good mid-range prices for if you pick a Larson for your second guy, or if you pick like a Chase for your third guy.
Yeah, so I haven't dug super deep into Danny Suarez this weekend, but when I started to, because he's in a matchup over, I think maybe DraftKings or Caesar. I think it's Caesars. He's head to head with Cindric, and I thought about maybe fading Suarez. He's been damn good at these comp tracks this season. Charlotte, Texas, you name him. He's been running like top 10, high teens. So I think Suarez is one of my favorite plays this weekend. I'll have him in a lot of lineups, 7,400. If you can have him and Cindric in there to balance that out, I think that's awesome. Briscoe, he just has kind of been dog shit on the comps, kind of been dog shit, not dog shit. But like a low 20s, high teens car, but he's been running better everywhere. Like no one saw the run coming that he had at Bristol last week, like having the speed. You can tell Stuart Haas is saying fuck every car pretty much in their stable, and just I say that, but Ryan Preece had a good run too last week. The
whole organization is balls to the wall. We got nothing to lose. Let's go out there and run well as best we can. And for Briscoe, he's almost like an anti-Reddick in the case of let's go hard as fuck in the round of 16. We know we have the chance at these tracks, but maybe the intermediates, maybe they just don't have enough to stay up there. But I still think he's definitely worthy of a mid-tier C.
Yeah. Who else? Who else do you think is worthy to be on the board here right now? Because I'm struggling.
Bob mentioned in the chat Bubba Wallace. I think he probably is worth a C. His price, not my favorite this week. He is all the way up at 9,000. I don't love it that high, but he's got the wins here in situations when we haven't expected him to. It's not really somebody who's all that spectacular. Not a guy who we think of, at least in the most recent weeks here, missing the playoffs. But I think he's worthy of being put in the C's.
Yeah, I think I'm there with you. TK saying, "What is tire wear?" That doesn't sound like real for 99% of NASCAR, seemingly.
We saw it at Spring Bristol. It was great. It just doesn't happen as much anymore.
Don't take Kansas from us. Leave us our Kansas tire wear, please. That's all I ask. I ask. Keep it here, man. Yeah. Oh, geez, we're getting down here.
Maybe Logano and maybe Ty Gibbs for a C. I don't know. Past that,
man. Ty Gibbs
Ty's tough, but
I mean Ty from a DFS perspective just hasn't had a ton of upside the last couple of weeks. I mean, he had good runs back in the Firekeepers Casino 400, Coke Sugar 0 400 as well. So I mean, yeah, I would honestly say if you want to crack open the D's here and throw them in the D's, just start kind of throwing the fodder there if that works with you. I don't call him fodder, but
no, at this point he kind of is fodder. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
the only other guy I'd think about for the C's is Logano, and his pump tracks and his Kansas stuff have been kind of mid too. But I think just the pedigree here and him turning it on in the playoffs every even year since this bitch has started, he's been in the championship for. So
yeah, I think maybe it's up to you where you want to put Brad, because it's been bad runs as of late. I could not believe. I mean, they just missed the setup. I think at Bristol is what we're hearing out of RFK is that they were
really expecting crazy high tire wear.
Yeah,
they were expecting the same thing as the spring. Didn't happen. Totally fucked them.
But Brad here, honestly, this is a guy who had a decent run going in the spring, was up there at times, finished 11th. I don't hate Brad. I think maybe more still of a D. I would maybe opt for Noah Gragson. If you want to throw a guy up in the C's, a guy who finished 9th here, was 8th mid-race, had an average running position of 9.8. Like, he was one of the more impressive things looking back at that Kansas track. Like, this is kind of where he kind of put the Cup Series on notice a little bit. So I would maybe, he hasn't run great as of lately, so I'll let you pick whether you think he should be a D or a C, but I do like Grags a little bit.
Gregson probably even ahead of Brad. It's like I said,
Yeah.
9th in the spring, and he's been 11th and 12th in the last 2 races. Obviously, much different than Kansas, but yeah, probably above both of those guys too.
Who else are you thinking here? I know you were high on Haley switching teams right away. We did see McNasty not have a terrible run here. He finished 10th here earlier this season as well. So I don't hate McNasty. Carson Hocevar had a really good average running position of 18.1 as well. So I look at guys like Hocevar, Haley, McNasty, JHN kind of in this next spot we're in.
Yeah, I don't know if JHN can quite make the D's. I don't have a big
Oh, come on. Come on. 13.
How bad has Legacy been? Legacy's been such dog shit. How can you put him in the D's?
They're building their own notebook, Kyle or
Right.
Elliot. Have a little respect.
I have respect for what they're doing, but it's not going to make you a lot of money in DFS.
Yeah.
I don't have as strong of an argument against it, but
56.
I don't know if I want to put him ahead of these other guys.
56.
Right, 5,600 is dirt cheap.
Yeah, 5,600. It hasn't had a negative point performance since back at Chicago. So yeah, give me a little. Yeah, give me a little little JHN. I mean,
Truex is F or nothing for me.
Yeah. Throw them in the Fs. Like, you just can't. You can't pay the price.
The 7 for Haley, not the 51.
Oh, geez. Oh, wow. Yeah, good.
That's why I mentioned it again. We talked about it, but I was like, no,
yeah.
It's going to trip us up probably the rest of the year.
So the biggest conundrum to me is Rowdy, because had a nice little.
Rowdy, yeah.
I mean, I just don't know what to do with this guy, because he did finish 8th here. He was 2nd mid-race, had the 2nd best average running position. Like, he was one of the best cars at Kansas. But, I mean, I don't know if he just missed a setup at Bristol last week too, but that was the worst race he's had in months. So
yeah,
maybe a C or a D. Like, the price tag's fine. The price tag, I think, is fine for what you're paying for Kyle Busch. But I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I think if we put him up there, it's either after Logano or after Gregson.
Let's go after Gregson. I like that. I like that call out.
Yeah, he's kind of like, normally Suarez is our guy that we forget, and we get to the Fs. Oh, we didn't put Suarez up. He probably should be a C. But yeah, Rowdy has been forgettable, and that's even last year, Kyle Busch being forgettable.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead.
Hocevar probably in the Fs at some point. Are you gonna make an adjustment?
No. Who did you say right there?
Hocevar probably in the Fs.
Yeah.
Got him up for the Ds potentially.
Yeah, put him above Truex too. Honestly. Yeah. Same with McNasty. Like, at least he had a good run here. You're not paying up for McNasty this week by any means at all.
Someone shouted out Dillon for a top 10. Maybe he's worthy of the Fs.
I know he has pretty good runs here as well. So Austin Dillon hasn't killed you lately for DFS either. Like, he's a guy pretty much you have to go all the way back to June, the last time he's had a negative points performance in DFS, 31 points last weekend. I would probably play Dillon over McDowell, honestly. So don't hate that price, 6,500. That's a good little value. I'd say Priest, throw Priest on the board. He's just he's looked better as of late. Like, I think he's got a little juice in his step. Like, he might have a little announcement coming soon or something.
Yeah, or if he doesn't have an announcement, he's got to run his ass off to try to land somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Oh man, like I can't play Josh Berry. I can't. He was really bad.
There's a few guys here who are like tempting to think about, and I don't want to put them on the board, but it's just crazy to see Jimmy Johnson at 5,800 behind guys like Gilliland, Priest, Jones, Haley, Austin Dillon, Hocevar, Stenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
It's all, you almost have to look at Jimmy the same way that we were looking at Dale's Xfinity stuff. Like we said, it's fun to see him back out there. We hope he runs all the laps. We hope he doesn't get hurt. We hope he helps.
Is it fun? Is it fun? Because he doesn't look like he's having fun.
No, he's still coming back and doing it though. I mean, he could just bail on the whole thing and be like, I'm going to run the team. You guys run the 84. I mean,
he ain't boozing until 1 a.m. on the track.
Yeah, he's having fun over there in London. You know, he's not spending much time with these tracks all the time anymore. But it's It's just crazy. Maybe any love for Todd Gilliland?
Yes. Yep. I would rather play
but
Gilliland almost than McDowell just for the price tag of
for the price tag
6,000.
and the price tag and the Ford manufacturer data. Gilliland's the lead driver there next year. McDowell's going to a Chevy team that's going to be Hendrick Light. So
he had a 20.2 average running position in this race earlier this year too, so it wasn't bad. Zane Smith, I think, deserves to be on the board somewhere as well. Had a 25 average running position, did finish 29th here. Did go backwards a little bit from where he started, but Zane Smith's another guy. He's looked a lot better lately. I like what we're seeing out of him. So, yeah, we'll throw him in here. I'll throw him up there. Yeah, a little Zane Smith love.
Okay, the only other three I would consider are probably Barry, Hemrick, or Stenhouse. And I don't love even any of the three of them enough to really fight for them. They're the only three I'd consider putting up there still.
Stenhouse, to me, I think is interesting. He had a average running position inside the top 20 here earlier this season, finished 16th, finished 23rd, 12th, 30th, 8th in the next gen era. So I like Stenhouse actually a little bit this week. So I wouldn't mind throwing Stenhouse potentially, here somewhere in the middle of the F tier. Not the best price, I think, on him. That 6,700. I'd rather play Dillon, probably rather play Hocevar, but he's around.
Yeah, I certainly don't hate that, but yeah, I don't know if it's worth putting any of these other guys on the board.
Nope. Give your one thought on him if you have anything.
Yeah, I mean, Barry in the 4. It's not a short track, so I don't really care. We know the Ware cars aren't going to do much. We know Jimmy and NY Racing aren't going to do much. We've already talked about Legacy. Hemrick's out of that 31. Shout out Harrison Burton. You made the playoffs.
Good on you, bud.
The whole time, but now it's over. Have fun at AM Racing next year. That was another news bit we didn't mention.
We didn't talk about that.
He'll run the what was formerly the Haley Deegan car. He's going to run the number 15 AM Racing for full time next year, which not a bad opportunity for him. If that team's any good, I think Harrison will show it.
I'm a little nervous. Of
nervous. Course I'm nervous, but
I thought HB would get a little better ride than that. Honestly, this is a cup winner.
He wasn't a cup winner when he was out of that ride, and I think he's better than Lawless Allen to put in that car. So
yeah, for sure. No, shout out Lawless, we love you, man. Thanks for no, actually, kind of fuck out Lawless Allen. Like, no, there's been a lot of times I've seen some fuckery happen in some lower tier series this season, and who do you know it is? I mean, if we are ranking NASCAR names, Lawless Allen is the 101, right ahead of Cole Custer. Like, my goodness, could you not pick a better race car driver name? Lawless fucking Allen. But my goodness, God, sorry about that.
I feel like we got to clip that and tweet out. We'll have a good time with that one. We'll be the Lawless Allen podcast.
Yeah, hopefully we can cut out the "fuck you" Lawless Allen part before that. But
that was just it was a funny dichotomy of Lawless Allen, I'll fuck you, bud.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, what else? Sure these people have had enough with the banter. Let's wrap this shit up.
Yeah, anything on the 44? You already mentioned him.
I mentioned NY Racing's back worker.
Okay. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight on the back road. If you guys are new, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel. Come back and hang out with us. We got about almost like these shows go about 90 minutes now with everyone in the chat and everything we talk about. So come out, hang out with us every Thursday night. We're still going to do some off-season programming as well. Not sure if it'll be live every Thursday, but we're going to do something weekly for you guys regardless. Get some type of content out there for you. But fantasy football season, NFL betting season, college football betting season, it's all hot over on the website at inbetweenmedia.com. Make sure you guys are checking it out as well. And here on the channel, make sure you guys are subscribed and tuning into everything that all the good people are putting out for you. Elliot, what do you got going on?
We still got a little golf stuff happening too. Yeah, that's running out a little bit.
Yeah, swing season. Yeah, so this is kind of like I don't know what you want to call it, but this is just kind of the season when a lot of fuckery's happening over there in the PGA world as well. So, hey, we're riding Scotty Scheffler, little Scoot Scheffler this weekend, a little 6-1 action thanks to our guy Connor and Bo over there. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun fall, man. Let's just enjoy these last 7 races. I think that's like my big thing. Like, whether you guys enjoy this program or not, like hopefully you enjoy NASCAR each and every weekend because about 2 to 3 months from now, we'll be missing it. So I'm going to enjoy it while we can, my friend.
No doubt. Shit's getting real. Every series is in the playoffs now. We're in the round of 12 for the Cup Series. It is almost time to crown a champion. We know you want to make money off of it. We sure as hell do. So thanks for rolling down the back road with us. Enjoy the weekend at Kansas. Lord knows we will. And we'll see you this time next week on the back road. Have a good one.